Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a Scribo fill, and this is in the Verde Prato. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki. We have an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula. We have a Jinhao X159. We have a Visconti Opera Master in the River Thames. A Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize in the Jade. An Onoto Magna Carta. A Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. And a Visconti Camelot. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is a Scribo fill in the Verde Prato. I have to say I do like these pens. I only have 4 of the Scribo fills. I kind of, in one sense, want more, and in another sense, don't want more, because I really try to not go into having every single material or colour in a model of pen. And I know others that have got a lot more Scribo fills. I do like the way that the nibs write, very bouncy. This is a 14 karat gold nib, and you can see there, feel the writing, Scribo. If you don't know, Scribo was born out of the old or ex-Omas. When Omas shut their doors, a number of their employees decided to set up shop, and once they had gone into administration, Scribo was born, and they have survived ever since, survived through the pandemic. So I take my hats off to Luca and the rest of the crew. They have been doing a great job. I do like some of their pens. I probably will maybe add 1 or 2 more to the collection, but I equally don't want to add too many as well. Saying that, when I have over 70 Viscontis, yes, exactly. That's why I don't want to add too many, because it becomes a slippery slope. This is a very interesting shaped pen. It's a bit of an hourglass between the cap and the body. It's a piston filling pen. I love the material on this. It is a resin. All Scribo pens are resins. I think they may have done a wood pen as well. This has the Extra Flex or Extra Flexibile 14 karat gold nib, ebonite feed. I really do like these. Ruthenium plated nib and trim. Really is nice. You can't really post the caps, not designed to do so. But I'll show you in the size of my hand here. This is actually a really good size. So again, if you post your caps because pens are short, this shouldn't be an issue. If you post them because you are afraid of losing the cap, then unfortunately you won't be able to post that cap. The next pen inked up this week is one I had inked up last week. It's a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. Beautiful pen, heavy pen as well. Made of solid silver, AG925, and also the cap, the section, the power vac knob are all solid silver, but this is got a gold vermeil plating on it, and then it comes with a marble lapis lazuli stone as the body. It is a power vac. It's a single reservoir. You've got the hook safe lock mechanism there, quarter of a turn, a slight concave section, which I find very comfortable, and then a newer in-house Visconti 18 karat gold nib. It's a medium nib. I typically find this writes a little bit more medium to broad. I do like it though, and I know a lot of people have complained about in the past Visconti consistency around the 23 karat palladium nibs mostly. Some of them are bouncy, some of them are rigid, and yes, you can get those, but more so the nib width. Sometimes a medium writes like a medium, sometimes it writes like a fine, sometimes it writes like a broad. I'm still seeing that on the 18 karat gold nibs, although I'd have to say, as I'm getting more of the newer 18 karat gold nibs, I'm starting to see a little bit more of a consistency going on. So a medium typically writes, I'd like to say like a Western medium. When I say Western medium, I kind of think back to all of my Visconti 23 cat Palladium medium nibs, which typically write more like a broad. I'd say that they definitely write more like a Western medium to fine nowadays. Great nibs. I don't have any major issue with those nibs whatsoever. The next pen inked up, I did have inked up last week. It's a Classic Pens LB5. It's a Kouseki diffusion bonded acrylic. Beautiful, stunning pen. These, I think, retailed for around about $1,500 US dollars, maybe a little bit less, maybe $1,250, something like that. Originally, when they came out, nowadays they sell for $5,000 upwards. So I have two of these in my collection. I didn't pay that for it. I paid not really around the retail price on both of mine. I wouldn't pay that amount of money now that's been asked for these pens. But I know some people will do, and some people want that extra colour to add to their collection. There's only 50 of these made. They were made by Sailor, and you can see they're Sailor, for Andy Lambrou at Classic Pens. It says LB5, Kouseki, and you can see there it's 47 of 50 there. The trim, I believe, in the clip was made by Paul Rossi. It's a beautiful pen. It is a King of Pen size pen. It's actually about 1/2 centimetre or about 5 millimeters longer than a regular King of Pen. It has a 21 karat gold King of Pen nib there from Sailor as well. This is in a medium, so an Asian medium writes a little bit more like a Western fine, but I do like this. It writes really nicely. It is a cartridge converter pen. I can post the cap if I want to. I don't. We know that probably by now that I don't post my caps, but you can do if you want to. Interestingly also, if you were to get hold of a Classic Pens LB5, but it had a nib on it you didn't like, providing it's got a black section, which all of the Classic Pens should have, you could swap it out with a black resin section of a Sailor King of Pen. They are perfectly interchangeable. So bear that in mind if you ever get offered a Sailor King of Pen in the Classic Pens LB5, but you don't like the nib that's on it, then you could easily swap those out. So that one is inked up this week again. Another one is this one. It's the Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula. Beautiful material. This is diamond cast from Mackenzie Penworks. Has real diamond dust in that material. Absolutely stunning material. Really love this pen. It's a great pen. I like a lot of diamond cast material. Eric at Atelier Lusso made this pen. It's a cartridge converter. It does have a massive step here on the base of the section. I know some people that I have loaned the pen to or allowed them to write with have said that would bother them because it's quite a sharp step. It doesn't bother me. I typically do write higher up nowadays. I used to write very down at the base of the section. This has a broad steel nib. It's a Yovo nib. I can post the cap, but it won't post deeply. And it is also quite long and a little bit back weighted. But I don't post the cap. I like this pen a lot. It's a broad Yovo nib. I don't have issues with broad Yovo nibs. They write really well. They show off the ink as well. They're great for writing letters. I like using them and writing with them. The next pen inked up this week is a Jinhao X159, and I know what you're going to say. Crikey, Dave. Why have you got a Jinhao X159? And honestly, I just jumped on the bandwagon. I saw it was a Mont Blanc 149 rip-off. I don't normally go for rip-off or cloned pens, but what interested me mostly in this version was it had a number 8 size nib, and it's a steel nib. So I really thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I bought two. I bought one in this like sort of burgundy red, I bought one in a very dark blue. I actually liked how they wrote. I bought another 4, another 2 in the red and 2 in the blue. So I have 3 in each colour now. It is cartridge converter. You can post the cap. It's a steel nib. The cost on this pen was £6, €6, $6. I honestly think you can't go wrong for that price. So very, very good price also on a pen to be able to buy a bunch of them and test your nib grinding skills or your nib smoothing skills. Not all of the 6 that I bought have written flawlessly out of the box, but that doesn't bother me. At £6, that's a pretty good price for a pen. The next pen inked up is a Visconti Opera Master River Thames, and I really love this pen. I haven't written with it a lot in, I want to say, the past year compared to some of my pens. I used to write with this a lot. And the reason why is that it's a beautiful pen. I like the size, I like the weight, but I bought this with essentially a 23 cat palladium 1.3mm stub nib. So that is a honker of a nib in terms of nib width. I typically write letters, and I write between 5 and 7mm ruling. I typically need to write on between 10 and 12mm now if I'm going to use a 1.3mm stub nib. The Visconti Opera Masters, you can post the caps. They will post, but it makes it a really long pen. It's a power vac, it's a double reservoir, you've got an ink window. The older Opera Masters have the screw thread here. The newer ones have the hook safe lock mechanism. But I do like this pen a lot. This was a Chatterley Luxuries exclusive when it came out. It came out in 4 trim colours. So the yellow gold that I got is Sunrise. There was a rhodium or silver plated trim, which was midday, called Midday. Then you had the rose gold, which was Sunrise. And then you had the ruthenium, the dark black plated, was Midnight. I like it. There were only 28 in each trim. And I think a lot of them sold fairly quickly. I nearly bought a second one, but I decided not to in the end. The next pen inked up is a Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize in the Jade. Beautiful colour. I always wanted this one, and when I saw it on sale at Chatterley, I decided I would pick this one up. Beautiful chatoyance there going on in that material. It is resin. It is a, I think it's called a Chilton filling system. It's a pneumatic filling system. It's got a sack inside. So if I unscrew, you'll see here, you can't unscrew the body. You have a number 8 size Wahl Eversharp nib. I've got to be careful on this because I don't want to eject all the ink out everywhere. But basically you pull back that rod, you put your finger over that hole, which I'm not going to do because that will create a vacuum and push out any ink. And then when you let your finger off that hole, that creates a vacuum, a suction, and all the, if you've got this submerged into an ink bottle, the nib, it will suck up ink through that nib and feed into the latex sac there. And then you just screw this knob down and there you have it. You can post a cap, but it becomes a mammoth writing pen. I never do post that. It's a really nice pen. I do like the Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversizes. I would have liked more. I'm just not a great fan of the sac. I've had a number of ASC Bologna extras where I've had to replace the latex sacs on it. They should last 10 to 15 years. A couple of them have only lasted 2 years. I do have sacs. I've bought sacs. I can replace them myself. But I just feel that a piston or a power vac would probably be a better mechanism for larger capacity, but certainly a cartridge converter would be better. And Wahl Eversharp do actually, I think they call it the signature line, which is a smaller, narrower version of this in similar materials, but they put a cartridge converter in there. And I like the idea of the cartridge converter. I just don't like the smaller size of the pen. I like this oversize. The next pen here inked up is one I've inked up for a long time now. The Onoto Magna Carta. Beautiful pen. Coin finial here. You've got the Onoto standard clip, and these clips are actually quite tight. And then you've got this lovely inscription of the Magna Carta here on the cap, and then on the cap band it says Magna Carta 1215, and then you've got more inscription on the body and a coat of arms. This is made of solid silver, AG925. It's a heavy pen. It's a cartridge converter pen, silver section, although I believe this is chrome plated. I do need to check that one out with Onoto. I will check that one out. But it's a number 7 size Onoto, fine nib. You can't post a cap on this. It would be way too back weighted if you did, because the cap almost weighs as much as the body. It's a beautiful pen though. I love writing with these Onotos. I really am a fan of these now. I would like more so of these heavier silver versions. The resin ones are nice, but I do like that extra weight. And although you can add to a lot of the resin ones an inner brass barrel, it may add, I think, around about 15 or 20 grams in weight. It's still, for me, I still would prefer the solid silver weight of the pen, because this is around 95 grams in weight. A very heavy pen, not for everybody for sure, but I do like that weight. The next pen inked up is my Visconti, and this is the Knights edition, Last Templar Jacques de Molay. And you can see here Jacques de Molay. He was the last known Templar or runner of the Templars. Beautiful pen. I really do like this a lot. Really nice pen. It's a power vac filling pen. It has this sort of like chalice here as a knob. So I do sometimes have trouble screwing that knob on. There you go. Sometimes it just doesn't engage very well. The pen though is a beautiful pen. It is a work of art. You've got lots and lots of chainmail here. It's a flattened chainmail, not like on the next pen that I'll show you, but the chainmail is quite lovely. So really glad I was able to add this to my collection. It does come with a white feed that does get a little bit dirty. As I mentioned, it's a power vac. It's a single reservoir. I have a 23 cap palladium medium nib there from Visconti. You can't post the cap, but it really is a beautiful pen. So I do like that a lot, and I have that one inked up with me this week as well. And then the last pen is the Visconti Camelot, which is a pen that I picked up at the Toronto Pen Show. And this is a beautiful pen. It has a sword as a clip, and you can just see that there. It is a functional clip. It's just not a hugely functional clip, I would say. It is a power vac filler. The cap is almost, if not as long or longer than the body, where you see it with the cap screwed on. If I unscrew the cap, you'll see a very long section here. Slight concave. The threads are halfway. It's got a number 6 size, older 18 karat gold medium nib. I just find it's very comfortable. The section is maybe a little bit thinner than I would like, and a little bit longer than I would like. And it does add to a bit of a back weight of that pen. You can't post the cap on this one either. But I love how this nib writes. It writes really well. Slight bounce to it. Very wet, and I just love it. So the chainmail on this is really quite exquisite. It's I think a lot better than maybe what is shown on the Jacques de Molay. You've got a lovely herringbone effect going on there. So I have that pen inked up with me this week as well. So that's my currently inked pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up is the Scribo fill in the Verde Prato. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I have to say, I do like the colour of this pen. And I think that the ink that I've actually inked up is actually quite nice as well. So this is the Scribo feel in the Verde Prato. And it's a medium, and it's a 14 cat extra flex gold nib. And then the ink in here is Ackerman Dutch Masters, and it's Van Hoysem's Satgrown. But that is an interesting ink for sure, and I do think it kind of matches that pen quite a bit. The next pen is a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. We'll do an ink swatch. And this is another pen that I do love writing with. So this is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli, and it is a medium 18 cat gold nib from Visconti, and then the ink in here is Diamine Aqua Lagoon, which is a turquoise coloured ink, although I would say that it's a little bit more on the greener side of turquoise. The next pen inked up is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I do love how this nib writes. It writes extremely well. So this is the Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki. Kouseki is, I believe, mineral ore in English, and it's a medium, although it's an Asian medium, so a little bit towards a Western fine. It's a 21 cat gold nib, because it's a Sailor King of Pen nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Ochre. But that is a very beautiful brown ink, and I think it kind of matches the pen quite nicely as well. The next pen is an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I do like how the Yovo broad nibs write very nicely. So this is an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula, and it is a broad and it's a still Yovo nib, and the ink in here is an art from The Heart, which is a UK retailer, Diamine, and it's a Fluster Cluck. But this is a very viscousy, high sheening ink. The next pen is a Jinhao X159. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see that this also is quite a nice fine nib on this. So this is a Jinhao X159. It's listed as a fine. It's a steel nib, made by, I presume, made by Jinhao. It definitely isn't a Bark or Yovo or Schmidt nib. It's a number 8 size nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Oxblood. And that's an ink that I've been using quite a little bit lately. The next pen inked up is a Visconti Opera Master River Thames. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a stub nib. And when I say stub, it's a Visconti 1.3mm nib. This is the Visconti Opera Master River Thames, which was a Chatterley Luxuries exclusive. It is a 1.3mm 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which I do like. I typically in the past have inked it up with, I think, a blue or a purple ink quite a few years ago, and I've now gone really to a grey ink on that one. The next pen inked up is a Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize in the Jade. We'll do another ink swatch here. And although this is a medium nib, it writes a little bit wet and towards a broad. It's a Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize. And I think it's getting low. And it's in the Jade. And it's a... yeah, it's just about getting low. It's a medium. I will need to re-ink that up. I didn't check that. Been writing with it a lot. And it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Aqua Lagoon, which is the same ink as I have in the Lapis Lazuli there as well. The next pen is the Onoto Magna Carta. We'll do an ink swatch. And this is quite a fine writing nib. So it's the Onoto Magna Carta in a fine 18 cat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which is the same as in the Opera Master there. There's a lot of dark coloured inks this week. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I always find this ink looks a little bit lighter in this pen. So this is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay, and it's a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib, and the ink in here is also Diamine Earl Grey. Diamine, getting ahead of myself there. Diamine Earl Grey. Sometimes it's not as easy to try and talk, think, and write at the same time. The last pen inked up is the Visconti Camelot. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is another lovely ink that I like. So this is the Visconti Camelot. Once upon a time I used to ink this up with Diamine Earl Grey. I typically ink it up with this colour now. It's a medium, and it's an older 18 cat gold nib from Visconti. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc. And it's lavender purple, which I believe now is not possible to buy. I think it's gone out of production like Corn Poppy Red, sadly. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Scribo Fill in the Verde Prato in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Ackermann Dutch Masters Van Huysum Sap Grown. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Aqua Lagoon. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki in a medium 21 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula in a broad steel nib inked up with Art from the Heart, Diamine Flustercluck. We have a Jinhao X159 in a fine steel nib inked up with Diamine Oxblood. We have a Visconti Opera Master River Thames in a 1.3mm 23 karat palladium stub nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize in the Jade in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Aqua Lagoon. And although they're not next to each other, I just want to show the difference between these two. In the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, it looks more of a bluish turquoise, but in the Wahl Eversharp, it looks more of a greenish turquoise. Same ink, just different pens. The next pen inked up is an Onoto Magna Carta in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. And you can see the two differences here. Again, different pens, same ink, and just how the ink will look different depending on the pen that you put it in. And then the last pen inked up this week is the Visconti Camelot in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Lavender Purple. So there you have it. That's my current ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.